Villains' victims are usually saved by our superheroes to help avoid any casualties, and ideally they'd like to make sure no lives are lost at all. But some villains simply prove too powerful, and sometimes our heroes also just arrive a little too late to stop the carnage.
Welcome back, Nerd Squad. She's Amanda McKnight.
And he's Patty D, our newest nerd host. Welcome to you, Patrick. We're so happy to have you joining us on the channel.
Patty D in the house. And I'm super excited to be talking about these epic supervillains and their kill counts.
Woo! Me too, I cannot wait! So without further ado, let us get counting. Number 10, Victor Zsasz. Victor Zsasz is someone who literally wears his kill count on his body. But actually, for every life he takes, he gives himself a little mark, a tick on a larger, full body tally. Depending on the comic you read, Victor at times is perceived as being covered in these little tally marks, and it's been implied that he's killed over 200 people in his lifetime, an insane amount considering that Zsasz is not really an elderly man.
Coming in at number 9, we have Magneto. Magneto has always advocated for his fellow mutants, but unlike Professor X, Magneto's methods and beliefs are a little more heavy-handed. Magneto believes mutants to be superior to humans and fights ferociously for mutant freedom, no matter what the cost. In Marvel's Fatal Attractions storyline, the United Nations activates a network of satellites revolving around the Earth in an effort to stop Magneto from using his powers. In response, he sends an electromagnetic pulse around the planet, causing countless deaths as the pulse shuts down hospital equipment and brings planes crashing down from the sky. Now before we hit number 8, I need you guys to hit that like button.
Number 8, Ra's al Ghul. Where to start with Raish? Not only has he been responsible for taking lives, but he is also responsible and noted for being the leader of the League of Assassins. So he's a man with a lot of blood on his hands. While he hasn't himself been responsible for an insane amount of deaths like the previous villain we discussed, Zsasz, he has through his league been responsible for many and more than Victor himself. His daughter Talia also has an impressive kill count all on her own, and Ra's has also been a pretty big influence on her when it comes to her prowess as an assassin. So yeah.
Darth Vader. Darth Vader is easily one of the most recognizable villains out there. Choking people out with his Force abilities and slaughtering entire platoons of soldiers single-handedly, Vader has racked up a pretty significant kill count. He hates sand, and he won't hesitate to also murder the women and children. But it's the destruction of Endor, the fourth moon of Yavin, that earns him his spot on this list. Under the influence of Emperor Palpatine, Vader helps the Empire rise to power and eventually build the Death Star, going on to commit one of cinema's most memorable acts of genocide.
Number 6, Brainiac. Brainiac is the Superman villain who's obsessed with bottling up cities from across the universe. He ended up doing this to Kandor from Superman's homeworld of Krypton, keeping the city preserved, and in some stories is also the one responsible for destroying the rest of Krypton as a planet, which would mean presumably taking over 1 billion lives. That is a lot. Although Krypton is believed to not have been as populated as planet Earth. I guess advanced civilizations are good at getting a handle on population size, but not so good at avoiding complete annihilation through other means. It's always a work in progress.
Coming in at number 5, we have Dark Phoenix. In the 1980s Uncanny X-Men series, the Dark Phoenix storyline spanned 10 issues. In this storyline, the Hellfire Club sends its Hellfire Knights to kidnap members of the X-Men. Throughout the events of the storyline, Jean Grey is eventually driven mad by the influence of the Hellfire Club's mastermind. The Phoenix Force becomes Dark Phoenix, and now in its strongest form becomes bent on destruction. Dark Phoenix takes to the stars, flying to the Debari system, home of the asparagus people, flies to the sun and eats it. Upon absorbing the star, Dark Phoenix unleashes a supernova, killing billions of innocent people and earning their spot on this list.
Number 4, Sinestro. I guess at the end of the day, Sinestro was tired of getting killed so much himself, so he decided to do some killing. Sinestro might not be as obsessed with killing as some of the other villains on the list, but he definitely can be considered as being responsible for a lot of deaths via his Sinestro Corps. Through the Sinestro Corps, Sinestro himself has basically also been responsible for the deaths of many different people throughout the universe. The Sinestro Corps are responsible for instilling fear in the galaxy, and as such, Sinestro has recruited some of the most bloodthirsty characters in all of comics as part of his roster. I think they earn the title of being the most feared core out there.
At number 3 we have Galactus. Galactus is one of Marvel's greatest villains. Stan Lee and Jack Kirby's attempt to pit our favorite heroes against a villain so epic, so powerful that he's like a god. Galactus is the only survivor of another galaxy, a space explorer whose home was destroyed in a cosmic event that left him with unimaginable power. Galactus is a Marvel villain who comes back again and again, raising the stakes impossibly high and spearheading some of the most epic Marvel storylines ever. In the 1999 series Galactus the Devourer, we see his appetite change, and he begins to leave planets intact, opting to devour only the life force of sentient beings instead. Unfortunately for him, the life forces of mortals just isn't as filling as eating entire planets, and his addiction grows, leaving him starving and weakened until he finds himself a new herald who leads him to new worlds that he can eat. In one universe, Galactus even eats the entire Earth, and burping in satisfaction seems pretty pleased with himself. The number of deaths on his hands is immeasurable.
Number 2, Darkseid. Coming at us with those Omega beams ablazing or evaporating, we have Darkseid. Darkseid is known for his immense power, not just as a villain himself, but as the ruler of Apocalypse. He not only brings his own might, but the might of his armies. Many of those that serve Darkseid have also been turned into massive killing machines, and though Darkseid is weary to sacrifice his own people unnecessarily, especially those that prove quite useful, he is usually pretty okay with completely obliterating anyone that opposes him by any means necessary. Usually firing an Omega beam is enough to get the job done.
And here we are at number 1, Thanos. Thanos was born a Titanian mutant, but as he grew, he was mild-mannered and intelligent, an aspiring scientist, but in his teenage years was driven mad by the influence of a mysterious girl. And in his madness, he eventually murdered a total of 17 people on Titan. This mystery girl was a manifestation of death, and to satisfy her, he would need to become a god and cause immense destruction to earn her favor. Thanos, driven mad by this love affair with death, he goes on to bombard his home planet and then descends to murder any survivors himself. Eventually, Thanos acquires the Cosmic Cube and fails to destroy the universe with it, and Lady Death is not very impressed. Soon after this, Thanos decides to give Death more than she has ever received, and he sets out on the path to obtain the 6 soul gems. After an epic saga, Thanos eventually finds himself in the realm of death, where he puts the gems together and creates the Infinity Gauntlet. Finally, hoping to appease death, Thanos snaps his fingers and half of the population of the universe is destroyed. This act is eventually undone, but the sheer scope of the death he causes earns him the number 1 spot on our list. Thank you so much for watching, you guys. Be sure to like and subscribe and share your thoughts in the comments down below. Do you agree with our list?
And speaking of comments, it's time to hit up some comments from one of our latest videos, Top 10 Children of Cyclops. Shanosuke writes, "Funny that people said Jean is Cable's stepmother. It's like, hello, that's his biological mother, since Madeline Pryor is a clone, same DNA as Jean, that's her son fully." I don't know how I feel about this. I think Maddie gave birth to Cable, so I feel like she's his biological mother, but then Jean is like his actual mother because she raised him, but then they both are his genetic mother, I guess.
Have to read it again?
Yeah, I feel like, I don't know.
Echo says, "I swear more people comment top 10s that they'd like to see more than comments on the actual videos themselves." You might be right, and
yeah,
we really appreciate all your suggestions and comments.
Yeah, that's definitely true, but you know what? Some of those suggestions are like fire, so keep them coming. Alright friends, thank you so much for joining us. I'm your host Amanda McKnight.
And I'm Patty D.
Stay nerdy, squad.
And we'll see you in the next video.
Bye.
The United Nations activates a sad...
Civilizations are good at getting a handle on why do I want to say? I want to say population, but that's not right. Population size.